What is up? Welcome to Bleach Boys number 14. We're moving into a filler arc.
Yay.
Spoiler alert, they titled it New Captain Shusuke Amagai arc is what the arc is called.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Should we just start playing like a board game real quick while you go through this?
Seriously. So, and it is the one with the girl and the two guards in it. Okay, but so I will say
one of the guards was really funny.
Yeah, it has not been as bad as I remember. So maybe just now that I'm watching it all in one go, it's not as bad as I having to watch it like week to week.
So I can't vividly remember, but I have checked out. I don't remember this at all.
Yeah.
And I feel like I only watched the Ulquiorra fight.
It doesn't affect anything, this whole arc. You do get to learn a little bit more about like the noble families and stuff, but very, very little.
Oh.
Like they do a very good job of just skirting around stuff.
Yeah, the Kuchiki families over here.
Yes, almost identical. So just to start it off, we get a new theme song, which is good. It features the filler characters from the show, so I imagine it's only going to stick around for these like 15 episodes, and it's going to bounce.
Wow.
It's only 15 episodes?
I think it's like 15, 16, something like that.
Okay.
So it's not super bad. Yeah. But the episode starts with like the narrator like, hey, no, we were in the middle of the Eisen arc. But it's like, let me tell you.
I like that.
That's disrespectful.
That's kind of funny.
And they had to say Eisen arc because it's like, remember how we gave that main character.
That story, he says, the story with Eisen is still ongoing. But for now, let's turn our attention to the Soul Society where a new storyline unfolds. The curtain is going to rise on a battle unlike anything our heroes have ever seen before. That's what his intro is before we start the actual filler arc.
They could have done a filler arc with like, I don't know, Byakuya and everybody else kind of doing their own thing before they go to West
I think so as well, which I think is weird that like we go back and we bring Ichigo and everybody back as well.
Wait,
because they could have easily have done like, here's what was going on while everybody's doing this, because the captains aren't there. They're not doing anything.
Yeah, and the captains aren't boring. I mean, they could have picked everyone's favorite Hitsugai and then just played around him.
Yeah.
Which I don't get at all, but whatever.
So wait, so this is a different time zone. Like
almost like a different timeline.
At Twilight
like, it
Zone.
will never be referenced again. None of the characters will ever show up again. Like it's just not going to happen.
That's so weird.
Yeah, it's very weird. So we see Matsumoto. That's how it starts off.
Okay, I'm already in.
He's in.
And she is excited that they're making a new Squad 3 captain, which is Gin Ichimaru's squad.
She loved Gin.
Yeah,
but I mean,
she's still excited that they're bringing in new blood.
Yeah,
it's like
when you get a new coworker.
She's kind of just like, oh, did you hear they're bringing in like new Squad 3?
I would have been so fucking melancholy.
She is like, it must be Izuru. But, when did he master Bankai's? Like, that's weird.
Izuru's
She thought Izuru was the next captain?
Wabisuke. Yeah. And so then we go to a captain's meeting because that's how all of the Soul Society things ever happen. And Captain Commander, I believe his actual name is Head Captain Yamamoto. I don't know. Is Captain Commander the Japanese name? Why do we call him Captain Commander? Is that the
what do they call him in English?
It's the head captain. It's just Head Captain Yamamoto.
Huh.
Yeah, we've always called him Captain Commander.
I
wonder if that's like a fan sub thing that we've just taken through the ages.
Weird.
Yeah, because I think everything we watched pretty much later on was
everything we read, but in particular, was like from fans. So that we read this way before Shonen Jump.
So it was Captain Commander, and we just kept it.
Well, because I was thinking like they have Soul Reaper, which doesn't translate to Shinigami.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
What's his real name? Genryu
Yamamoto.
Yeah.
So he's explaining that an expedition unit has just returned from a long-term assignment and had 0 casualties.
Oh, wow. Good for them.
And he says, due to the missing captains, 2 captains and Yamamoto summoned the expedition leader and tested his ability to fill one of the 3 positions currently available. Then we meet the new squad, the captain of Squad 3, Shusuke Amagai, as the title of the arc already revealed. And he dual wields Zanpakuto toes. He's got 2 Zanpakuto toes on his waist.
So he's got twins.
I've heard
just
really
like Kiraku and Ukitake.
Yeah. So Hirok is actually the first one to notice. He's like, oh, interesting. Okay.
A friend.
We see Wolf Captain Guy. He's asking Chill Captain Guy, who else oversaw his examination, because it's weird that this is happening so fast. And no one knows. Chill Captain says, beats me, and then everybody leaves.
Oh, that's solid.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds about right for him.
After the meeting, the Captain Commander explains that in any world, an empty leader's seat only invites discord and negative opportunities. When evil tries to expand its influence, such squads are most vulnerable and provides the easiest entry point to mount an attack. So that's kind of why he rushed this thing through. We see the introduction of Shusuke Amagai to the members of Squad 3. He meets Izuru and then introduces another man. So Shusuke Amagai has brought a friend. His name is Makoto Kabune.
I don't even remember that guy.
You don't fucking need to. He'll also be joining the squad, and he was part of Amagai's Expeditionary Patrol Unit and will now be the new third seat.
Where were they expediting?
We don't know yet.
Okay.
So it's something to do with
Exploring, I
like
guess.
suppressing hollows, I believe is what they said.
Okay.
Wait, so third seat just got yeeted into fourth seat by this guy. He's
Wait,
like,
I
I brought a
don't
I
friend.
thought Izuru was vice captain.
He
He's
is,
vice
yes.
captain.
Okay.
So, but there's a third seat that just got dicked on.
I'm not so sure if there was ever a third seat mentioned. So maybe they're just assuming like, hey, there's not a third seat.
I thought there was a
only-
rank
There you go.
system.
Oh,
Like you
I
were
think the
always
only
seated.
squad that does that it's 11, right? Because it's Kenpachi, Yachiru, Ikaku,
Yeah, they're really the only
and-
third seat that we ever know
Is
about.
Ichiro
And-
the lieutenant?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's the lieutenant.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
fucking badass.
they're the only one that we ever. So I think they just assume like, hey, they don't have one. Here you go.
Wow.
All of the squad 3 members kind of like don't respect the new captain and think he looks kind of weak.
Oh, they're gonna start hazing him. They're gonna start fucking throwing like you remember middle school throwing the little wads of paper.
Yeah. So Amagai, the new captain, tries to win everybody over by saying, my primary goal as captain is to protect my men no matter what. That's what being a captain is all about, which doesn't really win anybody over.
Sinister music starts playing in the background at one point.
No sinister music,
Oh.
so he's just giving his speech. Izuru later on is explaining to Matsumoto what happened and about how his squad's bad attitude and how this new captain drama kind of puts him right in the middle of both parties because he's the vice captain and he's also like, he was basically the captain to the squad while Gin was gone.
Yeah.
Got you.
Matsumoto convinces Izuru to throw a welcome party with the whole squad and a bunch of sake, of course, because
Of
that's
course,
what Matsumoto wants
Matsumoto's
to do.
thing. You just like drunk ladies.
At the party, the new Captain Amagai gets peer pressure by Izuru to drink some sake and make a toast to kind of break the ice and welcome everybody in. Even after trying to politely turn it down multiple times, Amagai eventually gives in and drinks the sake, does his toast, and immediately falls backwards and is completely drunk and passes out.
Nice.
Everyone gathers
Lightweight.
around and asks if they should just start cleaning up then at that point. But the third seat, which is Kabune, says, well, instead, let's use this as an opportunity to meet everybody. And then he says he would like to put names to faces as soon as possible. We see him going around writing down notes, kind of talking to everybody, meeting the whole crew.
So he's a Nishida.
A little bit, yeah. And then, like, as with any nice day in Soul Society, a wild hell butterfly just appears out of nowhere.
Oh.
And they explain that Menos have appeared in the Precipice world at Area 0035. The Precipice world is the tunnel that goes from...
okay.
The
just-
Dongi
yeah.
I
tunnel
thought they
thing?
just made a new place.
No.
Yeah. The Don guy.
And
Don
they're
guy,
heading
yeah.
directly towards the Soul Society. Our sensors report 13 of them at the present time, and these are like the large Menos. We see kind of multiple different reactions to this news. Kind of like, is that right? How can so many make it through our defenses? Hitsugai says impossible, kind of like implying that maybe it's some kind of foul play going on. Captain Commander sends the Squad 3 to mobilize, of course, because that's who we're focusing on, and to exterminate all of the Menos in the Precipice world. The third seat says that they have no choice but to mobilize now, even though their captain is drunk off of his ass and knocked out. Kabune says he'll ask them to shut down the restrictive current, and you, Izuru, must take command. We see Komamoru now, and we cut away to them. They're kind of standing up at a grave, which I think is related to Tozin's backstory, but I can't remember. And he's saying that the Serite may be moving towards change. Someone from one of the expedition units has suddenly become a captain, and that has never happened until now. We see his cool vice captain guy. He agrees, and he says that's why that he's interested in finding the names of the other 2 captains who examined Captain Amagai and gave their blessing. Moving on to Squad 3 again. They now go into the Precipice world, and they're doing a pretty good job killing the Menos.
Nice.
If you remember, Menos are supposed to be pretty
Difficult,
badass,
right?
but
Yeah.
not so much. They get down to about 8 remaining when an alarm begins to sound in the R&D department now, because we're cutting back and forth.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
The restrictive current has been released, and nobody knows why. And basically that means the restrictive current cleaners, which is the giant like vacuum thing that chased them when they first entered the first time, they're now bearing down and beginning to clean out that whole thing, and they're coming right towards Squad 3.
Why can't they just let... Oh, so that stopped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they were going
So
in
they
there to-
stopped it like, oh, we'll just send Squad 3 in to exterminate them really quick. And then it's like, wait a second, it's now back on, and now this fucking thing is going to erase everything that's in there.
So just color me this question. Why didn't they just turn it back on and let it erase
That's a great
the
question,
Menos?
because the next thing you see is the vacuum just absolutely mowing down Menos. Just like,
So this thing is stronger than a captain?
it's just like, wah, wah,
Well, it
and
just
like,
doesn't stop.
Yeah.
It's fucking doing a hit and run, like fucking just sucking up Menos. Just
Knocking them out.
like seriously, it literally runs up over one of them and just like, yep, it's going. So it keeps kind of getting closer and closer. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense why they wouldn't do that.
I'm really doubting like as a citizen, I would be really doubting their system.
It does seem like it'd be much more efficient. Like, oh, they're in the precipice. Oh, just turn on the fucking cleaner.
That's what it's there for. It's
Yeah.
a garbage disposal. Come on.
So it's getting closer to Squad 3. oh my God, it's about to hit them. They won't make it. And then they hear someone say coming through and someone jumps over them and it's Captain Amagai. Surprise.
Oh.
He tells everybody to stay back and says, I thought it made it clear earlier today. As long as I'm your captain, I'll protect you.
Was he still drunk?
And Amagai screams, holds out his one sword and clashes with the vacuum thing and it just fucking dissolves. He breaks the fucking vacuum.
He pulled an Aizen?
Straight up.
So he turns around and asks Makoto which is Kabune, if he's sure that he requested a shutdown of the restrictive current. The Department of Research and Development wouldn't make such a mistake like this, and once they get home, they'll be sure to investigate. And then he asks if anybody got hurt, congratulates Enryu on a job well done of keeping everybody together, and claps on the ground because he's still drunk.
Of course.
What a lad.
So that's the end of episode 1. That's our first introduction to Captain Amagai. We now move from that. We don't see him for a few episodes because we go to the Ichigo gang.
So we know
and see
he's
what
a
they do.
lightweight.
Yes, super lightweight, and they bring that up a couple times.
But can Aizen the shit out of the fucking cleaner?
Yeah.
Aizen literally broke it.
Yeah, so I don't know if they really realize it's like, oh, that means you're fucking real strong or what.
Yeah.
But he
And
just
Minnows are weaker now.
Yeah, but I feel like that is a running theme even going forward, like in mainstream
Yeah,
Bleach.
just everything.
Like after Ichigo fucking deflected the Sero, very early on, it was like, all right, Minnows don't care anymore. Who
Yeah.
cares?
Yeah.
It's like they've pumped him up. Who
They're like,
cares?
if he could do it, we
Yeah.
can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we see 3, I would describe them as stupid, dumb filler characters exit out of this gate from the Soul Society into a field. And one of them, because we don't know their names yet, says they're early. The sun hasn't risen yet. And it's a strong-looking bald man. Looks kind of like me. And then we see a generic-looking anime character, like the hair, the nice-looking guy. And they're pulling a carriage with a young girl who has her face hidden by a weird, I think they call it a veil, but it's like a circular hat with a bunch of like pieces of paper all around it so you can't see her face.
Oh, she probably hot.
She's a little girl.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Got it.
So they set her down and she immediately says, I'm hungry. And then we see Ichigo's dad is outside of Ichigo's windows. He's waking up in the morning and he's getting a delivery dropped off. And it turns out he had a fucking trampoline delivered just so he could jump up into Ichigo's window and wake him up in the morning.
I love him.
Ishin's the best.
So at breakfast, they kind of mention casually, it's like, oh, it's like our neighbor stopped by the other day and they wanted to say bye to you, but you weren't here, whatever. We see Ichigo and the gang now at school. And a bit weird at this part because, like, they show up to school like a normal day and they're getting all their introductions from their friends and stuff like, hey, Ichigo, what's up? And Keigo says, hey. Then we see Tatsuki. But if you remember the last time Ichigo and Tatsuki left off, she was pissed as fuck at
She wanted
Ichigo.
to kick his ass because he wouldn't tell her that
he wouldn't tell her the truth about Orihime. So it's a bit weird to go from like Tatsuki hates his fucking guts to now, oh, hey, Ichigo, what's up?
Do they only go to school for filler arcs?
pretty much. Well, there's a little bit of...
Well, no, because Hitsugai and everybody showed up at school.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah. So Rukia at school, I'm skipping a lot of the parts where they're just chatting. She gets an alert on her phone saying that hollows have appeared, so Ichigo and her immediately run off. They decide to split up due to the number of hollows, there being many of them, so they could take them down quicker. We go back to the filler characters now, where one of them says they've discovered a thing called a convenience store. But unfortunately, their gay guy haven't arrived yet, so he can't actually get her anything. So the girl starts to throw a temper tantrum and takes off her hat. But he tells her that she can't do that because she needs this veil to suppress her spiritual pressure. If her presence in the world of the living is discovered, it would be disastrous. So, who knows what's going on there? Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
They ask her to please wait for the Gigai because it has special spiritual pressure cloaking system. So there you go.
What is that acronym for? Special Spirit Cloaking System? That's
SSPCS. Yeah.
I know what it means to me.
Once he gets done explaining that, he looks to the side and she's gone. She's already taken off.
Oh,
she's left to go find something to eat on her own. She looks up and she sees that Ichigo is right above her fighting hollows, and she calls out to him. She wants to know if he's the Soul Reaper of this town. Ichigo tells her unless she wants to be eaten, she needs to get out of here now. But then she explains, no, I'm the one who wants to eat, and trips and knocks her fucking veil off.
Oh, God.
gasp.
Yeah, seriously.
This is disastrous from what I've heard.
Ichigo asks who she is. She doesn't respond and holds her hand out like while on the ground, kind of like waiting for him to help her up.
She's like, Noelle, dude.
So yeah, she then demands that Ichigo go and get her food. And then we see her two guards, ? They're being chased by a bunch of hollows. And here we find out that the bald guy, he doesn't speak. He just kind of like motions. And then the other guy is able to understand what he's saying.
Oh.
But it's not like sign language. He's just doing like weird motions and they can understand each other. The girl is kind of like crawling like all over, kind of like doing a yachiru on Ichigo, telling him to go get her food. And just then the two guards run towards them, grab the girl who we now know her name is Lady Rurichiyo.
Oh, yeah.
I thought you were gonna stop on lady.
Lady,
I'm like,
yes.
that's-
I was like,
oh,
wait.
man, what?
Lady Rurichiyo, and baits the hollows into Ichigo and is like, hey, take care of those, and then jumps off.
Funny.
Ichigo gets absolutely fucking dogpiled on by all of these hollows, where literally there's one large hollow that like lands down afterwards and sits on top of the pile. Just like, and Lady Rurichiyo, she kind of feels bad as she's being pulled away, and it's like, oh no, he was eaten. But then Ichigo just goes fucking bonkai and just like blows them all off of them.
Wow, things that are not in common with the fucking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bankai immediately.
Yeah.
So Rukia then appears wondering why he went bonkai, and he tries to explain that there were 3 weird people, but they're mysteriously gone. Nobody can find them. Uryu, Chad, and Orihime now show up, with Uryu kind of destroying a lot of hollows in the sky.
Oh.
And then they're just like, okay, well, let's wipe this up and go back to school. Chad takes out about 1 hollow. I don't even know if Orihime takes out any hollows, but then Uryu rapid fires the whole sky and takes out all the rest of the hollows.
That's almost
Wow.
like 12,000
like they
per
probably
second.
filled up
Yeah.
the hollow, like they filled up the whole screen, just copy and paste a bunch of hollows.
Oh, nice.
They take one out, and then you just see brrrr, just like clear the whole screen of
Fuck
all.
that guy.
It's like,
He counted
"What?"
exactly how many arrows he needed to.
And like Ichigo even mentions afterwards, like they have like a brief little discussion. It's like, wow, your powers are so good for taking out many hollows. Like, it's like, yeah,
so
okay.
stupid.
So Uryu, he's like, yo, I didn't come here to see you, Ichigo. I sense a spiritual pressure that I didn't recognize, and they baited those hollows there themselves. So that's why Uryu went there.
Gasp.
They're all walking back to class where Ichigo says he's pretty sure that she was a princess of some sort from the way she was talking. And Rukia begins kind of tapping away on her phone, which is nice on the little flip phone, to see if she can find any information about these 2 Soul Reapers in her phone. Rukia says that Soul Reapers have to pass through the Senkaimon to enter the world of the living, so there should be a record of any and all passages that go through the Senkaimon that she's able to access off her phone.
Nice.
Later, in Ichigo's room, after some shenanigans, Kon gets smacked by Rukia and slammed into the window, where he sees that a Gigai is moving in next door to the now vacant house.
Oh, it all makes sense now.
Ichigo runs over to look and sees that is the generic anime Soul Reaper from before. Ichigo now goes over there and sees that it's all 3 of them moving in. The little girl knows Ichigo's name, and he wonders how, and the generic anime filler character says it's called research, and then goes to leave and go back inside.
Generic
oh my
character.
God.
Ichigo tries to follow, but then the man just turns and puts up a barrier, and Ruki's like, hey, don't exhaust yourself. We don't know who he is, but his Bakudo is pretty impressive.
Oh.
So that's pretty good.
She
Rukia
flirting?
goes to Urahara's shop to ask Tessai about the Gigai, but he refuses to answer, saying it's a trade secret and he won't sell.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So she asked like multiple times, like, trade secret, can't. Like, what about this? Trade secret, can't. Like,
That's how you write a character in without writing a character in.
Yeah.
That's bullshit.
so Rukia eventually is like, okay, where's Urahara? Because I'll just ask him. And Jinta says he doesn't know. He's been gone for a few days, and that's how they write off Urahara.
Dang.
Kon tries to convince Ichigo to just go over and smash through the barrier in Soul Reaper form because that would be no problem for him. But Ichigo is just like, nah, not worth it, and doesn't want to do anything. Back inside the house with the filler characters, the girl is now falling asleep. And the one filler character that can't talk is Enryu, I believe. And he gets asked by Kenryu. I might be mixing up their names because literally the names are Enryu and Kenryu.
Oh.
And I believe Kenryu is the one that can talk.
Is he the bald one?
No, Enryu is the bald one.
Oh, Enryu is the bald
Kenryu is the one that
I'd
has hair. So
rather
the extra
fucking
K
die.
you get to have for having hair.
Oh.
So
okay.
Kenryu turns to the bald one and says, you saw it today too, didn't you? And says, substitute Soul Reaper Ichigo Kurosaki. His skills and power are genuine. I'm sure he'll be able to go up against them. Coming to the world of the living was the best choice after all.
So, do you wonder if the Soul Society or like just people there, if they're rich enough, they can take vacations in the real world?
Oh.
We get the answer to that, and I'll spoil it because they don't ever really talk about like the ethics of it. But they do mention that basically the way they got here is they have a private Senkaimon.
Okay, so they have like a
they're
private
just
jet,
noble,
yeah.
so they could just do whatever they want.
Wild.
So you can be haunted by a noble person.
That's cool.
You
I
could.
like that.
Yep. So back at class, Ichigo is telling everyone the princess they were looking for has moved in next door. And Uryu tries to give him crap for not investigating further. But Ichigo says something which actually makes a lot of sense. And he's like, well, they're up to something. And that's pretty much damn obvious. Sooner or later, they're going to come meddling. So why waste the time? Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, he grew a brain.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then their teacher comes in with an exciting announcement. There's new transfer students, everybody.
know,
Oh
of
my
course.
God. And speak of the devil, wouldn't you fucking know it's the 3 of them, man.
But don't they
Truthful-
look like old men
Yes,
and a
and
little girl?
everybody comments on that. It's like a little elementary school girl. The bald guy is giant as fuck, and then the other guy looks like he's like a college student. And then we do finally get the introduction of all 3 of them here, but I've already said all of their names. We get Kenryu. He's the one that can speak. The bald mute is Enryu, and then the girl is Rurichiyo Kasumiyoji. That's her full name.
Huh.
And that's the end of that episode. We now go to the next episode where I'm going to skip the whole first half of the episode because it's literally just the trio of filler characters kind of interacting with everybody at school.
Lame.
Who cares?
Wild.
Later at night, Rurichiyo now says that she couldn't find any record of them using the Senkaimon because, spoiler alert, they have a private one. And Ichigo isn't interested in sneaking over to see what's going on. And since Kisuke isn't worried about them, then they're probably not that, worth of anything.
That's a good
Yeah,
point.
makes sense.
Also, that's a terrible point because he just never gets involved.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh.
So even later at night, everyone gets put on high alert as they sense a weird spiritual pressure. And standing on the roof is Kenryu, once again the one who could speak. And he's kind of looking left and right, trying to figure out what's going on. Ichigo and Rukia immediately go to the Soul Reaper form and hop over to him and ask him to explain himself.
Hello, friends.
Stating that his spiritual pressure has changed since yesterday, and because Ichigo is a substitute Soul Reaper, he can't just let it slide.
Oh.
Then kind of like red orbs begin peering around him, and one of them like cracks and shatters, and someone hops out from the orb into the house, busting through the roof. The three of them, Kenryu, Ichigo, and Rukia, hop down after it. Kenryu looks to his left and out the window, sees that Enryu and Rurichiyo are making their escape in the middle of the night, with Rurichiyo still asleep and the bald guy carrying her away.
You having fun with your notes, bud?
Can you imagine being asleep and some big bald buff dude is just carrying you, like Sam's just carrying you away?
She sleeps like a fucking ox, apparently, because she does
Yeah.
not wake
Nice.
up. So, Kenryu sees that they've basically left and turns to Ichigo like, well, I leave the rest of you, and then hops out the window after them. Ichigo and Rukia now turn to see that there's like a ninja wielding a blade that is attached to his wrist, so kind of like hooked onto his wrist.
That's kind of cool.
It's got a circle mirror on his wrist
I
part.
do remember that, yes.
That's really the only part of the story you need to know. They all now hop to the top of the roof because the ninja wanted to chase after them, but he gets cut off by Ichigo. And Ichigo and the ninja clash blades, and he sees the mirror part, or the ninja uses the mirror part to reflect the light and make Ichigo lose consciousness for a second by looking at it.
Huh.
Rukia saves him, but then she looks at it and she loses consciousness.
Of course.
This is fun.
Rinse and repeat a couple more times, with each time either like Rukia or Ichigo loses consciousness, the other jumps in and saves them.
Oh god.
Rukia eventually calls out that she thinks they are dealing with an assassin. So
No
not,
sh-
not a ninja, but an
way.
assassin.
A guy with a knife for a
Yeah.
hand. Oh, no way.
No, it's a blade.
It's
It's
a
a blade
blade.
is attached to the wrist.
So it's like Ezio's little...
No,
Is it
on
up
the
here?
opposite side.
Okay.
Top of
Yeah.
the arm.
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay, that's cool.
It's not. It's a full blade with a mirror on his wrist.
So they can
This
see
guy
their
went to,
faces
like,
when
a
they're about
fucking-
to die.
Yeah. Yes.
Look
went
at
to, like,
yourself.
Exactly. Yeah.
You went to a
Fear
garage
face.
sale. Like, this is going to be sick as fuck for work.
So Rukia does think with her brain here and says that they're dealing with an assassin, so they need to keep him alive to figure out why he was sent after Rurichiyo, which would make sense. Ichigo and the ninja begin fighting again, with the ninja kind of pushing back Ichigo at this point. He backsteps, about to fall off the roof, until all of a sudden the ninja is disarmed somehow.
It was
And
attached to. Did they cut his arm off?
no, they just disarmed it. It's the blade, Josh.
Mm.
Cut this part. Ichigo and the ninja begin fighting, and the ninja is pushing back Ichigo when suddenly the ninja is just disarmed out of nowhere. And Ichigo explains that I can take down guys like you without even looking at you. Your Zanpakuto reflects the light of the moon into your opponent's eyes, momentarily dazing them. But in order for you to keep it up, you always have to attack your foe head on. Once I figured that out, you didn't stand a chance. And during that speech, we kind of see that Ichigo, he was closing his eyes and used his own blade to reflect the light back at the ninja, dazing him.
Dude,
and
he's
then
smart
just
as fuck
basically
now.
disarms him.
Nice.
Ichigo demands answers from the yelling ninja. The assassin just gets up and fucking runs and jumps into the midair. Ichigo does a Getsuga to kind of try to hit him to stop him. But the assassin midair like looks backwards, sees the Getsuga's coming, turns around and jumps into the Getsuga, taking his own life. Like,
Seppuku on a different level.
Wow.
so the trio of filler characters show back up now, and Rukia asks them to now go ahead and please tell us what you've gotten us mixed into. Rukia took a slash to the arm during that fight, so Ichigo's like, hey, I'll go call Orihime because she's OP as fuck. And it's probably a good idea to get Uryu and Chad just so they know what's going on.
I'd be so pissed if I was Orihime thinking I'm getting a booty call from the guy I'm like getting a
Yeah.
huge crush on.
Yeah, it's like, oh, yes,
Ichigo has
Ichigo's
called
calling
me.
me.
Yes.
Hey, Rukia's injured. Can you come heal?
The
Like,
girl I
The
live
hooer.
with. Oh
son
yeah.
The
of a
hooer.
bitch. So now that the gang is assembled, they are finally sitting down talking. And upon hearing the last name of Rurichiyo, Rukia puts it together saying the Kasumioji clan, as in,
Does she
the
bow?
Kasumioji clan. She does not. because they're nobles, second only to the 4 great noble clans. So they're
Ooh.
second.
Second, they're not as good as.
Yes.
So they don't exist in the real world.
Probably.
Oh,
So,
nice. Yeah.
Ichigo immediately calls out Rukia, saying, like, how did you not realize the first time you heard her name? Because she was in class for the introduction of the full name.
Good
Good
call
boy.
out. Yeah.
And then Kenryu puts together that it's Rukia Kuchiki, and they bow because, you know,
Oh.
they're lesser.
I remember there was some
Yeah.
bowing.
So Kenryu goes on to explain that Lady Rurichiyo is the sole legitimate heir to the Kasumyoji clan,
I'm proud of you.
and which wouldn't be a problem if her parents, the former heads of the family, were still alive. Her mother, the previous matriarch of the family, passed shortly after her daughter was born, and her father followed soon after, taken by an illness.
Oh.
The two of them, Kenryu and Enryu, have been her guardians ever since, standing in for the parents she never knew.
She's got 2 dads.
Yeah. He continues
Very
on,
progressive.
saying, "We thought it would be better to wait until she became of age to become head of the clan, but a man by the name of Yaku Kumoi is acting as the temporary viceroy for the clan. Lately, vassals under his service have begun to disappear. It seems that he's been disposing of anyone who doesn't fall in line. We believe he's been abusing his power, using his influence to seize control of the Kasumyoji clan. More recently, strange things have been happening around Lady Rurichiyo, and she is the rightful heir to power, and she is standing in Gyokaku Kumoi's way." Ichigo asks if they're just able to prove any of that, but Kenryu just shakes his head and says that the situation has grown too precarious and we needed to get her to safety. "We left without telling a soul in a fog-heavy night and used the Kasumyoji personal Senkaimon and fled to the world of the living." And then they continue on saying, basically explaining the soul phone isn't able to access any data that pertains to
soul
private Senkaimon, so that's why Rukia couldn't find them.
What? So how is a lesser noble having a private Senkaimon, but fucking Rukia is just like, that doesn't exist. I never thought of that.
Rukia could have been using this the whole fucking time.
Yeah.
Possible. I don't know.
What the fuck?
It's a filler thing, so I imagine it probably doesn't ever come up again. So, do you think anybody else ever uses a personal Senkaimon? I bet not.
It would be cool.
It'd be fucking
Yeah, it would be
dope
cool
as
as
fuck,
hell.
right?
I mean, I feel like they would
And,
have
how
to.
does the Senkaimon work? Can you just appear anywhere? Because, so you could just take, let's say I have a Senkaimon in Soul Society. I want to go to Disneyland. I just go, hey, I'm going to go hop in.
Yeah.
I mean, they have to run. I feel like
And
you have
then
to run for
as
a
a
little bit.
Soul Reaper, can you interact with physical stuff? So let's say I want to go to Disneyland. Can I then sit on the ride and ride the ride in Soul Reaper form?
I think you could sit on
or
it.
do I
but
have to
don't
get in my
think-
Gigai form and then actually wait in the line?
I don't think they. Huh.
Fuck
No,
you.
I think it's like a ghost thing.
Because when they get hit, though, they get slammed into the walls.
Yeah, but by other ghost things.
But they still interact with
the wall still works.
So you'll
So-
be able to sit down on something.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
that's-
call it and just say that they did not want to animate people flying through walls indefinitely, because then you're going through the earth at that point.
I just want to know if I could sit on a roller coaster in Soul Reaper form.
I think you
allowing
could.
it.
Yeah.
Okay. So Kenryu then goes to bow to Ichigo and says, "Your reputation among the Soul Society is clearly well earned. Your strength is undeniable.
Oh,
There are sure to be more assassins coming for her, members of a highly specialized unit assembled by Gyokaku Kamui himself, using the Kasumyoji clan's vast political power." Then he asks Ichigo to become her bodyguard as well. He continues saying, "If word of this internal strife is out, I worry that the Kasumyoji clan would be in danger of dissolution. We can't turn to the court guard squads because of that." There you go. You can't go to anybody else. "Lucky, however, you're only a substitute. Please, we can't fend off the assassins on our own."
wild.
Chad asked them, why don't they just capture like an assassin and present it as proof? And Kenryu says they always just kill themselves when facing defeat. And even if they did, Gyukaku or Gyokaku, whatever his name is, would just deny knowledge.
Kyukaku.
Yeah.
The Japanese
Yeah.
girl.
Sounds so good.
So Rukia tells Ichigo he's doing it. So he just goes ahead and agrees because that's just how it goes. And Kenryu adds on one more thing. Lady Rurichiyo has no idea she's being targeted, and they'd like to keep it that way. It would traumatize her, and she's been through enough already. She needs to be kept innocent.
So
of
she
this
got
at any and all
lucky
costs.
that she was asleep and they tried to assassinate her. So it's like she doesn't even know it.
Well, you think, Jose, it was her first day in the real world. So this is like the first assassination attempt that they've done.
Oh, okay.
So-
I thought this has already been like an ongoing thing, and they're just
the ongoing
lucky.
thing that they mentioned, and I'm not sure if they mentioned here a little bit later, where he's so far has just been making weird things happen around her, as of like, oh, that's so weird. The roof almost caved in on Lady Rurichiyo. That's so weird. Or like,
But
oh,
they said
fucking-
the other assassins killed themselves, so they had to have assassination attempts.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
I'm not trying to plot hole you.
Yeah.
I'm just saying there's some weird shit going on.
Yeah, I don't know. So, but so far they said they've only done weird things, but I guess the assassins kill themselves. So maybe they've tried to find the assassin that caved a roof in or something. I don't fucking know. After that, we see basically, as he's explaining that, she's literally sleeping in the next room over, but it's a Japanese house, so it's like they literally just have one of those cloth things, like
the sliding.
so it's like
things.
she could easily hear through the thing, but I guess she just fucking sleeps
like a
all.
brick.
We then see the man himself, Gyokaku Kamui. We cut over to Soul Society.
Oh.
He's consulting with another assassin, wondering why a substitute Soul Reaper is helping her. And the assassin says that they should just hurry. They should just speed up the plan to avoid any trouble. Gyokaku agrees and says he will leave it to, or I will leave it to you then. And that's the end of that episode. We go to the next episode where Rurichiyo gets invited to dinner at Ichigo's house by Yuzu, which is the youngest daughter.
Oh, that's right, the blonde one.
Yes. Here we find out that Rurichiyo, in case you guys didn't know, she hates carrots. Doesn't want to eat those.
That's a solid fact.
Ichigo tells her to eat up because hardworking farmers spent a lot of time and labor making those for you.
The Mexicans?
So she goes, farmers made these? Like she doesn't know that's how fucking carrots are made?
Yeah.
So then through the roof of Ichigo's house, they like do the classic. They pop out like the light, and Kenryu and Enryu are in there. And they tell Ichigo that Rurichiyo doesn't eat those, and they've punished many of servants for even daring to give her those.
Oh my god, I like this.
Just kill them.
Yeah.
I don't like these characters.
Then Ichigo gets mad and kind of gets in their face and says, "You asked me to babysit," and then Rurichiyo is like, "Wait, babysit?" Because she doesn't know. She doesn't know what's going on.
Damn it, Ichigo, just spilling the beans.
Yeah, Rurichiyo gets mad at the two, Kenryu and Enryu, for always keeping secrets from her. The fact that she didn't even know about farmers proves it.
Oh.
Then, like all kids, she says some real hateful shit about how if her mother and father were still alive, they would have told me, and I hate you too.
She plans on running away.
Yeah. So both of the Kurosaki sisters, though, go to run after her, like, feeling bad for her because they're both little girls as well.
I thought of breaking her ankles.
But the two Kurosaki sisters eventually come back because she's disappeared. They basically find out that she went back into Soul Reaper form and she fucking dicked off somewhere.
Nice.
We follow Lady Rurichiyo, who she's walking along, and eventually runs into Orihime, who quickly talks some sense in her and basically says, like, listen, they do it because they care for you. It's like they're not doing it to be assholes. They do it because they like you. But wouldn't you know it, because they're out by themselves, they fucking get attacked. Rurichiyo tries to ask the assassin why he, like, if he knows who he's attacking, as if like, hey, I'm a noble, don't attack me. Doesn't do anything. Orihime blocks his attack, but the assassin is using a Zanbakuto, which I'm pretty sure comes back into play later. It's got like a fucking sucker alien thing on one side. You stick your hand into it.
Yep.
And basically he does like a slash, and it uses energy and like creates a wall. It's really weird to explain.
Huh.
Basically, he's using his Zanbakuto to summon walls on both sides of them, kind of cornering them into the tip of a triangle.
That is the shittiest power.
It's pretty good, actually.
Oh.
It basically summoned Earth. I mean, not that bad.
Earthbender, remember?
Orihime and Rurichiyo are basically stuck, with Orihime keeping her shield up at the very tip of the triangle. And the assassin keeps attacking and is basically slowly pushing back Orihime's shield, like about to squish them in the corner. And Rurichiyo starts to cry, apologizing for everything. And then she calls out for Kenryu, Enryu, and then they show up and save the day.
Do they have Zanbakutos?
Kenryu for sure does, as we're about to find out, Jose. So
okay.
buckle up.
I was just...
Ichigo and Rurichiyo show up soon afterwards and begin fighting the assassin. The assassin uses a technique. Rurichiyo explains this because she's, of course, the smartest. Explains that the assassin uses a technique that converts a blade attack into walls. And then he traps Ichigo and Rurichiyo's blade. Like, they both go to block this slash, and he just turns it into a wall, like sticking their blades inside of the wall.
Okay, I see it now. That's bullshit.
So Kenryu steps forward now that they're both stuck in the wall. And he's like, leave it to me. Unsheath his sword. It says, bloom in glory, Bini Shidari. And then pink flowers begin to bloom all over like his sword. And it releases a pink mist. He says, he goes on to explain that his Bini Shidari's pollen will sprout flower blossoms on any weapon it touches, rendering them completely useless. And
convenient.
Right, yeah.
So because of this now, he calls out Ichigo, saying, you have an opening, Ichigo, now use it. Ichigo does a Getsuga Tensho, and Rurichiyo fires a Sokatsui to break away the wall so they can attack. As they're doing that, Kenryu is like, wait, don't. And the wind from their attack blows away all of the pollen, and now the assassin has the trio of filler characters captured.
Wow.
Kenryu says that his Bini Shidari only works when there's a large cloud of pollen surrounding the enemy, and your attacks just blew it away. Whoops.
What?
So,
oh boy,
Ichigo and Rurichiyo are just kind of looking with like the dumb face, like are you serious?
I'm glad.
Like,
okay.
Yeah.
Jesus.
And he does continue on saying, however, there's a plan B, takes his hand on his own blade and kind of like runs it up, flinging the petals of his flowers that were on his blade up. And they get stuck to the assassin's eyes. And Kenryu says, all right, I blinded him. You can take it from here. And then runs off.
He's blind. Get him, Ichigo.
The assassin is kind of wailing around trying to get the flowers off his eyes, and just then Ichigo says, "Here, let me show you a real attack," and then does like a fat ass Getsuga Tensho. And the assassin was actually able to dodge, but immediately has a blade put to his neck because Rukia is now behind him, and says, "Now tell me who sent you to kill Lady Rurichiyo."
And he walks forward.
He just goes.
So the assassin basically like releases some sort of weird, like almost Super Saiyan energy to blow Rukia away and breaks free. He jumps up to one of the giant walls he had created, attacks it, causes it to crumble down on himself, killing him.
He could have
gotten away.
Yes. So
these guys are dumb. They're playing with their own lives.
Rurichiyo asks who was that terrible attacker, and Kenryu tells her it was probably just a common thief. You have nothing to worry about.
Aww.
Rurichiyo kind of starts to get mad here and says, "Stop treating me like a baby," but then turns around and sees that they're all kind of like fucking damaged and banged up. So Ichigo comes over and asks if she's okay. She regains her princess-like composure, says, "Yes, I'm fine because I have Kenryu and Enryu to protect me. Now let's return home and finish our meal. And do not worry, I'll be sure to eat all of my carrots. Because if I didn't, it would be an insult to all of the farmers who grew that."
So this is like a fucking lesson to children.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, eat your carrots or else someone's going to come and try and kill you all.
And then fuck up and kill themselves.
Yep.
Stupid.
They go to leave, and we kind of stay
wall.
with a shot on the rubble where the assassin died. And then we see a hand reach into the rubble, and it's the assassin who was speaking to Yokaku back in the Soul Society, and he's recovering the weapon that the assassin was just
the alien arm one, right?
The episode then ends with Kenryu and Enryu calling out to Ichigo Kurosaki, and they wake him up saying that basically Rurichiyo's gone again. Surprise.
Whoa.
Yep. We move to next episode. We see Squad 3 is chasing something all around Sarate, and spoiler alert, it's a cat.
Oh.
So, turns out they've been doing kind of all weird odd job missions, and they don't know why the captain is having them do things like this.
So it's like Naruto all over again.
Yeah, a little bit. So Enryu heads back and talks to Captain Amagai, and he wants to know about tomorrow's mission where they're going to go repair the Squad 12 wall.
Oh.
And Amagai says, "You might not understand, but the previous captain Gen Ichimaru betrayed these men, and we'll have to work really hard to regain the respect of the Soul Society." So basically they're doing little tasks to try to make everybody like them again.
Oh, just likable people.
Amagai continues saying that seeing you like this, because Enryu is kind of like bent out of shape about it. He says, "Seeing you like this makes me realize something. Gen Ichimaru played too big of a role in this squad. A charismatic captain can bring the team together, but once that pillar falls, then the team can as well. That's why I want to rebuild the squad with you and Makoto, Kabune. The three of us will be the pillar of strength this team needs. That way, if one of them falls, you still have the other two."
Oh, what a good guy.
Captain Amagai then decides the next day to teach everybody a new technique, and he says, "From now on, you will learn to work together in battle or you will die."
What?
Just saying, basically, you have to learn this or else you're going to be shit.
Nakama power.
Okay.
Yeah, they do a training exercise where there's one of 3 colored headbands, and he hands them out randomly. And he explains, when I call out a color, the people of that color now become the enemy, and everybody else must attack the people of that color in squads of 3. So basically, like, they're running around yellow. Then everybody has to work together and, like, surround yellow. Whatever.
Beat them up.
Kabune, the third seat, is told to join the others and lead the exercise because this is something they did on their expeditionary trip. And Enryu kind of wants to join in as well, but Amagai's like, no, it's like, you stay here. It's like, Kabune already knows he's going to lead, so you just stay here.
Okay.
After the training exercise is done, everybody's like, wow, we're so much stronger as a team. Some of the men are talking about how Kabune is much more skilled than Enryu, and they can see a change of seats coming in the future.
Oh.
Wow. Fucked up, dude.
So Enryu actually overhears this. He's kind of like behind a corner, and he's pretty upset by the notion. And Kabune is there with him as well, and he kind of like startles. He's just like, oh, I was like, you heard that, huh? And he kind of tries to reassure him, but Enryu is upset, and he does like the class, like, well, you know it's true, so what are you trying to, like, comfort me, whatever.
Because he's so fucking emo.
Yeah, he really is.
You can just start executing people with Obisuke. I think that's fair.
Enryu then later that night goes drinking with Renji and the vice captain from Komamaru squad, and he's basically venting about
the guy with the glasses.
The manly guy.
Yeah, the manly dude.
Yeah. Yep. There they see Captain Amagai and the chill captain show up together to get a drink, and they request a private room, and they go off to go talk about some stuff. Amagai says that, listen, I'm not going to beat around the bush as to why he invited him here. He says he wants to find a way for the 13 court guard squads to coordinate more closely with each other. The chill captain, being the chill captain that he is, agrees, but he says, maybe we should get Jushiro in on this. I won't stand in your way or anything, but I'm not the type of guy who likes to take the lead on this stuff. So next time, let's round up Jushiro and we'll hash it out together.
Who's Jushiro?
Ukitake.
Oh.
Yeah. He then gets peer pressured into drinking again, and Captain Amagai immediately passes out. Later on, Enryu is confronted by the third seat, who kind of asks him why Izuru seems to never trust in his own abilities. And just when Izuru is about to answer that uncomfortable question, another fucking hell butterfly appears and enters the scene, saying they've seen a strange shadow near the execution grounds. Now, just a reminder, the execution grounds are the large holes where they used to push people into, not the
giant
cliff. Yeah.
wooden thing.
Mm-hmm. There they meet a man named Shinta Seiko, who does get an introduction and a full name, so I don't know if he comes into play later. But he's waiting next to the giant-ass pit, and he says that he spotted an unusual shadow right over near the pit, and then it appeared to vanish into the hole. They get close, and the ground mysteriously crumbles underneath them, making them fall into the hole.
Oh, nice.
As they're falling, both Izuru and Kibune are like fine and able to recover, but Shinta, being the peasant that he is, the nobody, is falling, and he's about to hit the ground. Izuru basically is like, oh no, and bounces off a rock and catches him before he hits the ground, and he's fine, but he passes out because he was scared.
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice.
Once at the bottom,
Everyone
Kibune...
passing out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once at the bottom, Kibune and Izuru go to look around, and they sense a spiritual pressure, and then they find a bunch of hollows locked behind metal bars down there. And just as they get close, the hollows suddenly become released from their cages.
Oh.
They could go on to take down a couple of them. Kibune pretty much doing most of it. And one of them gets behind them and starts to absorb Shinta, who is laying on the ground like he's like half inside of a hollow. Kibune slashes that hollow in the back, making him fall to the ground. And then Kibune releases his Zanpakuto, saying, now, Rampage, Reppu, which it's hard to explain. This guy's Zanpakuto. It's a javelin, double-sided. Okay. The blades are basically big, like shark tooth blades. Okay. But then it has a curved blade that connects the two of them on one side. Does that make sense? So you have the handle, the long spear part. Okay.
Handle.
You have the two arrowheads on the side, and then it's got one curved blade that connects them on one side, and the other side is nothing, and he still has the regular handle.
Interesting.
That's as good of a description as you're going to get on that one. Some of the hollows begin to leave, but Kibune suddenly stops and doesn't go after the hollows, and instead turns his attention towards the hollow that absorbs Shinta. He powers up, throws his weapon towards the hollow that's on the ground. Izuru sees like, what are you doing? And then stops and releases his Zanpakuto. And now we have Wabisuke in the mix and blocks the attack. Izuru is wondering what the fuck he's doing. Kibune responds saying, why do you care so much about a worthless failure?
Oh.
You have no strength, no principles. Your weakness is the very reason you couldn't prevent your previous captain's betrayal. Isn't that so?
Ooh.
Izuru has a flashback of, again, a couple of times. We see some quick flashes again, and he's just like, no, I. Then Kibune continues on, saying, and from the look of it, you have no discipline either, and then throws his sword at Izuru. The blast from the two blades clashing begins kind of like blow the other hollows away, and just then we hear someone call down from up above. It's Captain Amagai and the rest of Squad 3, and they're asking if they're okay. Kibune is the first to answer, of course, and is like, yeah, we're fine, but a squad member was attacked by the hollows and was severely injured. So
what a little bitch.
Yeah, Izuru is still kind of out of it because he's the emo, and he looks at his blade and notices that there's basically like a giant fucking chunk take out of his blade, and it's cracked.
What the fuck?
Right where Kibune hit it, so he's like, oh, fuck. Once going back to the surface with the other squad members, they say that they have safely transported Shinta to the squad 4 med facility, but his wounds are really deep and they're not sure if he'll make it.
Rip.
And the platform that they were on that had collapsed seems like there were signs of foul play and it had been tampered with. Yeah. Well, upon hearing that, Izuru just kind of mad dogs Kibune, thinking that it was him.
Narc!
So Amagai sees it as like, is there something else we need to hear about?
Hey.
But Kibune is just like, nope, we're good. And then Mayuri appears, and he's pissed that they destroyed all of his hollow samples.
Oh, what a guy.
Of course. So Nemu steps in and says, we believe that someone unlocked the testing facility and released all of the hollows, so it wasn't them. Mayuri is pissed at the Squad 3 captain because he didn't catch them alive, and now his experiments are ruined.
Oh, no.
Whole time, Izuru is just mad dogging Kibune once again. We see now that the Senkaimon gate opens up on the now Soul Society side where they originally left. And we see Rurichiyo sneak through as they go to close it. She's walking around wearing her special hat, giggling when we see a foot step in front of her and makes her hat fall off, startling her. And that is the end of that episode. Last episode, we're doing this one, guys. And then we're probably at about the halfway mark of the filler, a little under halfway mark.
How many episodes did you do?
6.
6? Oh.
And these are long, oh man, okay. So we basically get to pick up, and we see it's Gyokaku Kamui, who is the guy who's been trying to assassinate her the whole time, appear in front of Rurichiyo. Luckily, though, he's not alone, and others appear, and they're very excited that the princess has finally returned. Gyokaku asks where she's been, and she immediately snitches out that she is with Kenryu and Enryu.
Oh, they're dead.
So Gyokaku guilts her and is like, hey, do you understand, like, for your actions could bring, like, a lot of disgrace to this clan as princess of the Kasmyoji clan.
Oh, my God.
She ignores that and is like, please prepare me my sedan chair. There's someone I must visit.
Well,
Gyokaku
she just wants to go in luxury now.
Yeah, no. Gyokaku asks where she thinks she's going, and she says to a party. And the sedan chair is the thing where they, like, lift you up and they carry you. She leaves, and we see Gyokaku is kind of standing there by himself speaking to somebody, saying, are you ready to work Hanza? Then the assassin who recovered the weapon appears, the blue-haired assassin guy. Gyokaku continues saying, for some unknown reason, she has returned to the world of the living, or returned from the world of the living. Kenryu and Enryu aren't worth her. This is the perfect opportunity. The Kasmyoji Special Senkaimon opens up once again, and this time it's Ichigo and Rukia who run through. The guards who are now guarding the gate try to attack Ichigo, but he just kind of grabs it. And then Kenryu and Enryu follow in after them, and they're like, yeah, okay, you're good, guys. The guards tell them that the gate had previously opened all by itself because Rurichiyo sneaked in, and they don't know that.
Oh.
So they were on alert. Flashback now, in case you guys were wondering, but what about Orihime, Chad, and Uryu? Why aren't they there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Orihime is like, sorry, she was told she can't go through the gate, that it was forbidden. And then Uryu is like, oh, well, that's all right because there's a chance that Rurichiyo will probably return before you guys anyways, which, as we know, that's probably not going to happen.
And Sato?
He doesn't say anything because he's Sato. So
of course.
Stoic. Back to the present, Ichigo and the Soul Society crew are off to search. They, of course, decided to split up because she could have gone fucking anywhere. Rukia is running around.
Best way to win anything, right, Sam?
Yep, that's correct. Thank you, Jose. Rukia is running around and hears someone say, hey, what's the big hurry? She stops, and it's Kenpachi and Yachiru.
What?
They're wondering what she's doing here, and shouldn't she be in the world of the living? She kind of stumbles and like, because the mission's supposed to be a secret. If you remember, they can't tell anybody. Otherwise,
a trained Soul Reaper, not sure what to say during a mission.
Yep,
it's a secret mission. She doesn't do Soul Reapers don't do secret missions. That's the assassination squad or whatever.
That's Soifeng's crew.
Yeah,
the useless crew.
Yes, true and true. So she's kind of thinking of what to tell Kenpachi, and Kenpachi goes, well, is Ichigo here as well? And then Rukia continues going like,
and he's like, he is my man.
So Kenpachi kind of inhales deeply, closes his eyes. Yachiru licks her finger and sticks it into the air. And then the bells on Kenpachi kind of start to jingle, and Kenpachi opens his eyes and says, he is here.
Oh.
Yeah, the lad.
He continues saying he's pretty worked up about something, and Yachiru chimes in saying she senses him too, and he must be on a mission.
Her saliva must be like amazing.
So if you remember, Kenpachi kind of did this in the last arc too, because Kenpachi says he comes all the way out here and doesn't even say hi to me. That's just
he
rude.
was upset. Yeah.
I'm gonna go find him and see what's up.
Is that when he said he wanted to throw a barbecue?
Yes.
Yeah.
So like once again, he's like, "Yo, what the fuck, Ichigo? Like, why are you coming to say hi? What the hell?
Rude lad.
Like, I thought we were friends.
You to the death.
Yeah." So Rukia tries to kind of like make up an excuse at this point, like, oh no, and then but like kind of ends up following them away, and she starts to think like, oh, this isn't good. With the whole situation with Lady Rurichiyo is supposed to be kept a secret, and this could get out of hand if Kenpachi finds Ichigo.
Oh, because he's also in the Soul Society squads, and they're not supposed to know.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. Oh shit, this is all going so bad.
So we go back to Kenryu and Enryu. They're looking around. Enryu, the one who can't speak, spots Rurichiyo's veil laying on the ground outside of a random door. And they immediately go and run in to begin searching the building, thinking that she's in there. And just as they enter, the door closes behind them, locking them inside of a pitch black room. And we see Gyokaku had set that trap up for them and has now locked them away. He says with them locked away, he can now dispose of the princess. Back to Princess Rurichiyo, and we see that she has arrived at the residence that she was heading to. The doors open to reveal another little girl. And Rurichiyo exits and says, I'm honored and truly grateful to be invited to your party today. Just as Rurichiyo enters the residence, Ichigo turns the corner and spots her going inside. Rurichiyo and the girl enter with the girl whose name we find out is Sayori.
Oh.
She dismisses her guards, and they both let down the princess act and just become like nice little girls and just start playing and giggling with each other. She leads Rurichiyo to a room with a bunch of other girls. There's probably like 4 of the ones that are all giggling, having fun. Rurichiyo and Sayori do a secret handshake, and they say it's a sign of their lifelong friendship. Which, could be a death flag. We don't know.
Yeah, that's a death flag in my head.
Back to Kenryu and Enryu, who have found their way out of the building by boosting on top of each other to like open up a window that was high up on the wall. Ichigo approaches the building that Rurichiyo is in. Man, all these names are so similar, I'm starting to realize. But the moment he gets close, the guards that had transported Rurichiyo there raise their blades and tell him not to come closer. He tries to explain that he just needs to speak to Rurichiyo, but they say, how dare you speak her name? And they officially pull out their blades. He then tries to say that Kenryu asked him personally to come here, and they say that we're not buying it. And honestly, that we haven't even heard of a substitute Soul Reaper before.
Oh.
So, Ichigo flash steps away, and he's kind of like up on the wall, and he's now realizing like, wow, like no one fucking respects a substitute Soul Reaper. Like, what the hell? It's like,
stupid badge.
He's spotted again, then flash steps away. He appears in front of Rurichiyo, who is in the middle of a sip of tea, and spits it all out of him. He tells her that she's putting us all in danger and that we need to go back now. She refuses and says she's in the middle of a very important tea party, so no. Ichigo is then surrounded by the guards who've now entered the residence where he snuck into, and they say they received a report of a thief that managed to get by the guardians outside. Ichigo tries to explain that he's not a thief and he's just an apprentice of Rurichiyo, but she says, nope, I do not know that man, never seen him before, and then leaves.
Just stab her. End it.
The guards get closer, but then Ichigo just once again flash steps away, which is a little weird because they kind of comment like as he does it, like, whoa, he disappeared. Like, what's going on? You think they would know. Like,
No.
that's a thing?
They're just trash.
Yeah,
I suppose maybe flash step isn't common knowledge that people can do that, but surely there's other people that can move like fast. I don't know.
Byakuya moves like that.
Yeah, Byakuya, I mean, Yorishi, Soifan, there's a good
those are
cast of them.
captains.
Yeah, captain.
But if they're nobles, I imagine they have to
they'd
see
be like,
them.
have you
Yeah.
seen the captains today? They're doing their the flashy steps.
So Rurichiyo is now wandering around the residence because she left and she's like, I don't fucking know that guy. She spots a crying girl in one of the corridors and she comforts her, asking if she's one of the servant childs and if she's okay. The girl gets up and kind of like wipes her tears and she grabs Rurichiyo's hand and tries to start leading her somewhere. Rurichiyo just follows along, still holding her hand and thinking that this girl wants to show her something or play. She's led out to kind of like the backside of one of the walls where one side is a wall, one side is a bunch of bamboo.
Oh.
There, the kid lets go of her hand and then turns around and throws a fucking kunai at Rurichiyo.
Ooh.
Rurichiyo is kind of like falls to the ground and dodges it. The kid then pulls out a knife and says, goodbye, princess, then goes to stab Rurichiyo. But just as Rurichiyo's about to be fucking glacked, Ichigo shows up, blocking the knife.
He's fighting a kid now?
Yeah.
He's gonna wreck that poor kid.
The kid looks, so like they kind of clash blades, and then the kid looks to her right, and she kneels down all of a sudden. Ichigo's confused, but then now sees that the guards have chased Ichigo all the way over there as well.
Oh, some bitch.
So now they turn the corner and they see Ichigo pointing his blade at a kid, and they're like, wow, he is a monster, like pointing his blade at a kid.
Flashed up.
And
Flashed up again.
Ichigo once again tries to explain, like, no, it's a misunderstanding. Like, and then Ichigo gets fucking dogpiled on by all of the guards. And once Ichigo is now under about 10 guards, the girl then smirks and begins stabbing the fuck out of the rest of the guards that are not on Ichigo.
What?
Yep, she kills about 4 of them.
What
Wow.
the fuck?
And then lunges towards Rurichiyo now that everybody's on top of Ichigo. Ichigo can't get out, can't do anything. Could go Bankai, really. But
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
And just about as the dagger is about to pierce Rurichiyo, a fucking hole in the wall busts open, and from the smoke we see Kenpachi and Yachiru. Kenpachi is holding the girl assassin by the wrist, and he's like, hey, I've been looking for you. I figured you were here.
Hey.
And as he's holding the girl, she begins kind of like wiggling, and we hear like some nasty slimy noises. It wasn't really nice. And we see that the classic ninja assassin thing leaves the skin, and it's now like a generic ninja guy that we've seen not seen before.
Okay.
Wow.
The assassin then goes to attack Kenpachi, but he just slashes him once and absolutely fucking destroys him.
Hey, we needed to question him.
Yeah.
Kenpachi
was not in on that one, so.
Is that what the situation? They just keep introducing new Soul Reapers that don't know that we shouldn't kill these guys, so they just keep killing them?
Yeah.
foolproof.
Maybe, though, that was like the assassin trying to kill himself.
I hate it.
I'll just jump towards Kenpachi.
Fuck these guys. They're terrible.
Yeah, he knows.
So from the hole in the wall that busts through, we see Rukia was still following Kenpachi, like still trying to make up some sort of excuse for Ichigo. She sees Ichigo and she's like, oh. Kenryu and Enryu, they have now shown up. We didn't really get to see when they do, but they're basically putting Rurichiyo back into her sedan. And then we get a flashback of Sayori, who is the other little girl, asking Ichigo not to be mad at Rurichiyo. She explains that she came to my party because very soon I'm going to be married. Rurichiyo explains is kind of mad and says it's an arranged marriage. The whole thing was set up and agreed to by both noble families right after Sayori was born. It's horrible. Sayori, being the more mature of the two girls, says it's okay, don't be upset about it. This was going to be my very last tea party, and Rurichiyo knew that and did everything she could to attend. Because the way things work out, we may never get to see each other again. Rukia is there and is like, oh, so you're marrying into like an extremely strict family, aren't you? Sayori nods and then finally begins to cry, sad that she may never see everybody again.
Wah.
And like disrespectful as
Yeah.
We go back to the present, and Ichigo is like, wow, it's really tough being a noble. They don't have much freedom. Then Rukia turns to Kenpachi and is like, hey, I didn't tell you, but we're working on a super secret mission. Because of that, I'm asking you to please not mention today's events to anyone else. Kenpachi, being an absolute bro, he's like, I don't know why all that happened in the first place. And in the second place, I don't have time to think about stuff I don't understand in the first place. And then Yashiro chimes in saying, and in the third place, he's not smart enough, right?
Yeah, I love her.
And Kenpachi continues on saying, today was interesting at least. Bring Ichigo back sometime so I can smack him around a bit. And then he turns to Ichigo, says, next time, kid, and then leaves.
I love it.
Kenpachi's the best.
Yeah, Rukia and Ichigo are now just about to leave themselves. But then all of a sudden, Ichigo does like a hard 180 and senses something and turns around but sees nothing. From around the corner, we now see it was the blue-haired assassin that has been kind of like Gyokaku's right-hand man. And he says that he didn't even tremble when he felt my spiritual pressure. This is going to be interesting. And to be continued. And just so anybody's following along, that was episode 173. So
we've gone through so much.
Yeah. So that I would say we're obviously not in the halfway point of the fillers because I think there is.
It was like
I would say so. We did about the first 6, and I would say there's probably 9 more episodes left.
Wow!
But I'm pretty sure they don't ever leave the Soul Society again. So we are in the Soul Society. We're good to go, and the 2 storylines I think start converging.
That's what I was gonna ask. Okay.
So I think that's why they're setting it up, and I did spoil it for myself. So they will start convening soon. Like all of it is just all setting up. They don't spend much time on the new captain, which I thought was weird. They spend much more time on
the assassin,
the 3 girls, which I suppose is the main thing because they're trying to take over the noble family. But it's weird that they here's 2 episodes on Captain Amagai. We're gonna go 4 episodes with Ichigo and everybody else. I guess that's what everybody likes. I don't fucking know.
Cool. That's
honestly,
great.
Izuru bores the shit out of me. So
yeah, he's not that great.
He's really not interesting. It's like he's just like a nervous emo character. Like I don't care.
Yeah, but a lot of kids identified with him. Hello.
Yeah.
Did you not see his sick ass emo over?
Yeah, I suppose.
You know the
everything's
the
just so heavy with him. You know.
Yeah. Oh, maybe that's why his Zanpakuto makes things heavy.
I'm also calling bullshit on his fight where he pulled Wabisuke out, right?
So he pulled Wabisuke out and he blocked twice.
Yeah, that thing should be impossible.
Right?
Yeah, so like that should be like pretty heavy. Like what times
does it only count when
twice.
He's slashing, or is it just when anything touches?
I don't know. That's a great question because maybe it was doubling the weight and he was just so strong. That's why when he threw it, it cracked the sword a little bit. He's like, oh, I made it heavier, and he just threw it into my sword.
His only weakness, a guy that can pick up 4 times the
Izuru was
heavy.
fighting Kenpachi, like Kenpachi's really strong, he would double the weight in Kenpachi's sword. And he'd be like,
a very thin sword.
He's like, I'm still just gonna swing it around, and it's really heavy.
Kenpachi won't give a fuck. He'll be like, oh, look,
like, you've really only given me a buff.
Yeah, he's just got a gust of wind every time he swings.
He's like, now my sword is fucking heavy as shit.
He'll just throw it and cause an earthquake.
Yeah.
You didn't think about that fucking... No, that's bullshit. I would be so pissed if I was fighting.
He could be like, it's like, okay, we're about to go into a fight. Okay, here, hit my sword about 3 times and make it really heavy. Or like,
2, 3.
Or hit this rock. Like,
yeah. Let me pick it up and chuck it.
Yeah.
He's that character when they do like the fucking tag team toss at something where they're like, oh, we're going to do a combo attack. And he's just the last guy to tap the rock.
Yeah.
Ding, 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 ding.
If only he could like delay it for a second, where it's like, okay,
that'd be
hit
sick.
it. I'm going to start spinning it around and then chuck it. And then you activate it mid-go.
No, they just got to throw it, and then he's got a sonito next to it and tap it like 32 fucking times while it comes through and hits.
He's got to get it right to the precipice.
We could be like, oh, hey, let me grab this and throw it at Josh.
Yeah.
Hit it 70 times.
And then it cuts my head off. I don't like that.
He needs to get it right to the precipice where you can still throw it well enough, and then as it's going, he'll hit it one more time. Like he'll give it the final smack. And like send it flying.
Now I'm curious, how does the velocity work? Because this is getting to portals for me now. Because like if you hit it and it gets heavier, its trajectory is going to go down now.
Yeah. So you'd have to throw it as hard as you'd have to plan for the added weight as you're going.
Yeah. So like at the last
if your
second,
Kenpachi doesn't matter.
That's why I'm saying he needs to be able to flick it on. We
could just say it's pretty useless to do what we're trying to do, and he should just full on fight.
Okay. Well, what if he gets something up really high, and then he hits it a bunch of times?
Who is there a Soul Reaper that can summon a meteor? I'm feeling Ewok could probably summon a meteor.
Well, yeah, obviously. Yeah.
Captain Commander can summon a giant fireball, probably.
But I need.
You can't really hit a fireball, though. I would draw the line on that, Jose. Okay, come on.
Let's think.
Wile E. Coyote. Okay, you get Wile E. Coyote.
Wile E. Coyote.
Yeah. He bonkais for
I'm
you.
following. I'm not leading this one.
This what we do.
He puts a rocket.
Oh, okay.
We get Kamaru to pick up some rocks.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then chuck some with this giant guy.
Yes. Okay, we're in business
I like
now.
this.
He's the catapult.
Mm-hmm.
Or because he's also a useless Bankai, we just hit his Bankai a bunch of times. He gets so heavy he's now a fucking.
Or we tie Enryu to the rock, and then
like launch me.
You throw both of them, and as he's going, he's just hitting it the whole time.
Because we're getting rid of a bad character. Yes.
What if when Enryu goes up to the Soul Palace, he hits the ground a lot? And
he
makes it come down.
You guys are. Oh, I love it. There could be some like high society joke. He's like, you guys are too high above us. You got to look
I wonder
at
what
us.
his Bankai would be.
I don't
think
he
he
gets
has
one.
one.
Yeah,
I feel like that's a light
but if
novel
he did,
thing we're gonna get
he'd get a
for us.
gravity one.
How? But not everybody's Shikai is exactly like their Bankai.
Yeah,
It's not
you're
like
right.
You're
You're
right.
right.
That's
It has
100%
no
right.
bearing.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we really, it's not
Because Renji's is completely different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, except for the one we have now.
So after this, we go back to. I think we pick up with. Do we go right back to the Grimjo? The end of the Grimjo
we
fight?
see the end of the
Grimjo
Grimjo
just
fight,
lost.
and then
Well, there's the stuff that happens in the same exact spot in the Grimjo fight. So
Was it Neutra?
Yeah.
or
he immediately comes in.
Noyatora, I believe.
No,
is
it's yeah. So wait, Ulquiorra doesn't show up for a while.
Yeah,
then.
for a while.
Because it's all right there.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
the same fucking spot.
Ichigo manages to Super Saiyan it, where it's like every time he fights.
Yeah, but
he
they
gets
fight on the
stronger.
roof, right? Ulquiorra and Ichigo
Well,
fight on the roof.
They fight, and then he's like, "Pume, we
Yeah.
got to go up here
That
because
guy,
the boss man don't like this shit."
Yeah, and then he's like, "No one's seen this before, so hell."
Yeah. Fuck.
Yeah, so that'll be good once we get back into it. But I mean, I think there's more fillers coming up. I really do think there's more. I haven't looked.
I do feel like there is more. Like we'll get through the Noitora stuff, and then
Because I think they were riding by the edge of their seats. Like when they were doing the anime, like they were cutting real close to the manga.
What's the purpose? Because they just want to keep the content
So
going.
back
That's
in the
right.
day, I feel like
they believed in
they
just-
wanted to keep it going rather than stopping. Where I feel like now it's much more approved
Yeah.
to stop.
Because
Like
fillers
don't
are
make a
shit.
lesser project.
Yeah.
Like just keep it all good all the way through and don't make shit middle parts because then it's not going to sell. It's like a lot of the Bleach sets have like a bunch of filler and it's like I don't want it.
Yeah, that's true.
Like think of all the stuff that comes after. I bet you the first 3 volumes or like the collections of the Blu-ray or DVD, they both contain the same amount of episodes, sell way better than 3 through 6 because
I believe
those
that.
are
Yeah,
balanced.
I totally believe
Oh.
that.
I guarantee that the sales drop off on the 4th volume compared to the 3rd volume because I think that's a fair comparison because you're already way into it at that point.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because obviously the first one's going to have the most sales probably because it's the first one.
Yeah.
So I would say the 3rd volume compared to the 4th volume, and I'm talking a DVD Blu-ray, sells way better the 3rd one than the 4th one.
Which
Yeah,
you
that
would see
makes a
the
lot of sense.
decrease already because it's going down. But yeah, it would be like a
I
fucking plateau
guarantee.
drop.
Yeah.
That's sad, dude. That's really sad.
And I think they kind of fuck it where they can on the DVD because I used to have the first 3, I think. They make it so like, here's all of the Soul Society arc, but the last disc is like also the start of this one. So then I guarantee they also do where like, hey, the Bound arc ended, but the 2 first discs of the now Invasion arc is on that one. So you need to buy the last part of the Bound arc to get that. I guarantee that's how they do it.
That's stupid. Did you read Bleach from start to finish, or did
No.
you just
No.
once we caught up?
I didn't read Bleach from start to finish. The only thing I know off the top of my head that's different from the anime from when we first started reading it is that you get to see that Grand Fisher survived almost immediately in the manga.
Okay.
Like you get to see that he gets like an upgrade like instantly.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You get to see because I think it was shown in the anime as well. The part where he's on the surgery table and like someone is doing like surgery on Grand Fisher.
Yeah, something like that.
You see that part in the manga right after like he leaves.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Who's supposed to be doing surgery on him? Because he becomes an Arankar, right?
Yeah.
So it has to
It
be
would
like
have to be like
Aizen.
I
Xylo
don't
Paro.
know, but I did see that D-Roy, the guy we're memeing
Yeah.
on, he's there in that scene. So D-Roy,
No
okay, so
way!
let's talk about what we talked about last time because we were confused about the
villain.
We were confused about what happened to those guys. They all of those guys that were in that scene are the guys who showed up with Grimjo the first time
Yeah.
at
I
Dark
told
Earth
you
Town.
that.
Yeah.
And D-Roy is there. So you
He
didn't
is
tell me
there?
that. He's
Yeah,
there.
He is there.
We
yeah.
memed. We didn't know. No one could remember D-Roy
D-Roy
being
is
there.
the guy who got immediately whomped by Rukia
Yep.
because
let's be real.
She said and like when he died everybody was like, "Oh, well he was incomplete." Because he got a fucking bite taken out of him.
Yeah, that's when
Let's
Grimjo
be
ate
real.
his head.
Aizen could have fixed that.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, but I mean, it's Aizen.
He
Some
should
things
be able to do
finds
whatever he
pleasure in.
wants.
Yeah.
So
There's
it's
no
like,
holy bro code.
I don't understand. Like,
That's just disrespectful. My boy D-Roy fucking needs
he got
more
fucked.
respect.
Justice
Yeah.
for D-Roy because
Just-
he
F's in chat for D-Roy.
Oh,
got disrespected.
If you made it this
That's
far,
sad.
F's in chat.
It's like, oh, dumbass, you got bit before becoming an Iranka. We're not going to leave it like that, too.
But they revealed D-Roy that fucking early on?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So, no, I don't believe that. I do. I have to. But legally, in my
So
mind, this is bullshit because there was never that much pre-thought.
I'm just saying.
I don't know, man.
That's how it was. I'm
That's
He
just
might have
telling
just
you.
recycled the
So-
character.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah. They're like, hey, remember that guy? We're
Because
gonna
I
make him
think
useless.
in the scene where Grand Fisher's getting worked on, the scene is like it's a giant hole he's in, and he's like on a surgery table down there, and there's two shadows up top, like watching it, and one of those shadows is D-Roy like walking away.
Oh.
Okay.
So it has to be like Zyaloparo was the one fixing him then, because then it's...
Don't know.
I mean,
Don't know. It could be like another Rankar doing the mask removal process.
yeah.
true.
you know. So I don't know, but I thought that was interesting. So
That's pretty cool. Or it could
yeah.
just be Aizen chilling down there because
yeah,
it's
it
like
could be either or.
it's pre him leaving Soul Society, so it could be just like, oh, I'm working on this guy.
Yeah,
yeah,
in
that's
private?
That's true.
maybe you would have to find a time to dip out, but he's Aizen. I'm sure he could do
He's
that.
Aizen.
Yeah, which he should be able to fix the fucking hole in his mask. So,
But you know,
Yeah.
you do what you can.
poor D-Roy.
He just got wrecked,
Got
dude.
destroyed.
Destroy.
That's sad. Let's end it on that note.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. That's been Bleach Boys 14. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe on the video. If you're watching on YouTube, we appreciate that. If you're watching anywhere else, be sure to leave us a rating. And I don't know what else you do on all the other platforms. But
We should
thanks
probably
for
look into that.
Yeah.
thanks for listening
Give
or
us stars.
watching. We appreciate it. We'll see you every Saturday for a new episode. And hopefully we'll finish the fillers next time so we can move on.
Oh, God.
Till then, see you next time. Have a good one.